Nala's Tales. This is a podcast I set up, some natural chatter, and I just thought it would be a good idea to put something out there that's not in a short form as a way of explaining things in a little bit more detail, not just to my clients, but anybody out there that was wanting to know more details about the canine community. As a pet owner myself, but someone who owns my own dog business called Nala's Trails, as a dog walker, Canine Services. These are all just like the tips and tricks that I've learned just throughout having Nala as a pet, to be honest, and for my business with having my clients. And I've just found with every time I gain a new client, there's a new experience and there's a new problem that we need to fix or we need to work around in certain areas. And I thought, you know what, it might not just be my clients having this problem or not understanding what to do or what is meant by something. It's far more reaching, so wouldn't it make more sense to be able to put something out there that everyone could understand? So as a dog walker, I actually provide what I call bespoke one-to-one enrichment-led dog walks, which usually leads to the first question being asked by clients: what is an enrichment dog walk? Well, to answer that quite simply, it is literally letting a dog do what a dog does on a walk. So it has been proven that 20 minutes of an enrichment-led walk, where they're allowed to sniff and just do what comes to them naturally, is the equivalent to just walking them straight for 60 minutes and not letting them stop or do anything. So on my walks, we practice other things obviously as well. What I do with my clients' dogs is we cater it to suit the dog's requirements. So because I do one-to-one walks, there are cases where I get some dogs that are reactive, whether that be they're just anxious. Some dogs could have been attacked previously and now they're just not comfortable with other dogs. And in them situations, obviously, I also have to be mindful of the fact that I need to keep an eye on my surroundings so that I can keep an eye on making sure that they're not in an awkward situation as well. So if they're not allowed off the lead, there is foraging, they're on a longer line, so I still have control of them, but they're allowed to continue further ahead of me, so they have that space. But we do ones where it's foraging, we do scatter feeding, we do hide and seek. So hide and seek as well, obviously you can hide in the bush or behind a tree and then you recall them and they've got to come find you. All these different kind of games are mentally stimulating for your dog, but also physically active as well for your dog. So in a nutshell, if you were to look at what enrichment actually meant, what you'll probably get is a variation of, it refers to the practice of providing mental stimulation, physical exercise, and a varied experience to a dog overall, to allow experience to a dog's overall well-being and quality of life. So enrichment activities aim to engage their natural instincts, provide outlets for their energy, and also challenge their cognitive abilities. It goes beyond meeting their basic needs of just food, water, and shelter, and it actually provides them something that's more fulfilling, and psychologically and emotionally their needs are also met, which is great because obviously as a human we want to make sure all our needs are met. Why aren't we doing that with our dogs? Now, that's not saying that you all have to go out there and do like everything you can straight away. It doesn't really work like that, and it's also not, sometimes it's not beneficial money-wise, sometimes it's just too hard, and there's different ways that you can actually enrich your dog's life just in normal day-to-day things. So I've compiled a little list for myself. I've got little cue cards. If you're watching this on YouTube, you will see me looking at my cue cards just because I have a tendency of waffling on. We'll say waffling on. I go off on little tangents, probably a little bit of a better word for it. And I just wanted to make sure I kept on to what it was I wanted to list down that you could do. So first things first, obviously, I'm assuming everyone's already walking their dog. So if you're already walking your dog, one of the things you can do is incorporate letting them actually sniff. Now, what I do with Nala is I do what I consider a time-based walk, not a distance-based walk. So that means if I've got, say, a gap between where I've finished all my walks for the day, but I've got a client coming in to have their teeth cleaned, and I've got an hour gap, that means I can take Nala out for an hour, then it's a time-based walk. So when I get to, I will set my watch for half an hour and we'll turn back around. And then she's allowed to do whatever she wants to do in that 1 hour, but it's time-based. I'm not focusing on making sure we've done a 5K today. There are times, obviously, for example, me and Nala do go and do 5K runs. So that is distance-based. Majority of the time, when I do a walk with Nala, I will be looking at how long I've got free. And then I'll be like, right, it's on for early hours of the morning. We can take as long as you want. She'll pick whatever avenue she wants to walk down. I'm very kind of, I don't want to say liberal, but Nala picks her own walks. When we go out the gate on a morning, she'll decide if we want to go left or right. She'll decide if we want to go straight into the forest, if she wants to walk down the main road first, and she wants to take me past the nice cottage she likes to sniff into the field, and then I can let her off. Some days she wants to get off the lead a little bit quicker, so she'll take me straight into the forest, and then she can get let off a little bit quicker. It's all down to her and where her nose is taking her. At the end of the day, it's great exercise for me, but the walk is actually for her in my eyes. So we do it like that. On them walks, I will utilise what I have around me. So we'll do scatter feeding in long grass, so she's got to sniff it out. Occasionally when she comes back for a recall, she does get a treat or a reward. Now a treat doesn't actually have to be like a high value piece of chicken or anything. It can be a little bit of kibble. So we actually mix in sort of little bits of treats in with her kibble, so she never knows what she's really getting, so she always comes back. But that's a whole different topic on its own. But yeah, when you're doing a walk, just like do it time-based. If you've only got half an hour, say to yourself, right, we'll walk in, I don't care how long it's going to take me, but I'll walk for 15 minutes in one direction, we'll turn around. You might get home 5 minutes faster. It tends to be because they've already sniffed that direction. They're quicker on the way back than they are there. So you usually tend to find that I get home on my walks, because that's how I do my walks. I time-base them. So when I've done, like, if someone's paying me for an hour walk with their dog, I'll time myself for half an hour, turn around and come back. Might get home 5 minutes earlier than the actual hour, but that also allows me, especially when weather is what it is in the minute, which is constantly raining, time to actually towel them down. Gives me some time to play with them in the house and calm them down after a walk before I leave. I'm not just chucking them in the house and leaving. But I tend to find that I get a lot of texts of clients afterwards, especially in the first one, saying thank you so much. He's done nothing but sleep all afternoon. And that's literally because he's been not just physically tired out, mentally tired out from being allowed just to sniff everything, whether that be a brick wall where he thinks someone's peed or anything like that. It's literally a case of allowing them to sniff. Giving them some sort of activity maybe as well, such as scatter feeding or even foraging. Foraging is where you would hide the treat for them to find. So if Nala's off lead and she's running around, I might hide some treats around like a tree stump or underneath a log, shout her back to recall, and then go find it, and then she knows what she's got to go and do. So everybody's different in that aspect. But there's loads of different things that you can do and implement on a walk. But I always say to my clients, the first thing you can start implementing straight away on a walk is just letting them be a dog. Stopping and sniffing and not hurrying them along and dragging them along behind you. Just let them do what comes naturally. Dog's going to be a dog regardless of whether or not you want it to be a dog or not. The next thing you can also implement is buying stuff such as puzzle toys and interactive feeders. Now, these appear twice on my list, but it's two different kind of puzzle toys. So these are the ones where you're looking at where they've got to kind of maneuver the toy. There's ones that I saw recently at Dogfest where obviously there was like tubes that had treats and you had to push the tube over and the treat would come down. These are obviously, they're problem solving. It dispenses the treat where it's being manipulated. By that I mean obviously something's got to be moved. They've got to move something in order to get that treat out. And engages their mental abilities, and it also occupies them for a little bit. A good one that I have when I do home enrichment is I have what I call a sniffle garden, and I bought it online from a local company, and it's basically this, I don't know, I would say it's like 1/2 metre by 1/2 metre, and it's got 12 carrots in it, and they've got to pull the carrot out in order to get the reward that's underneath the carrot. So they can sniff it, but they've got to be able to pull the carrot out in order to get to the treat. There's also then ones where they're usually kind of either wood or plastic, and you've got to kind of manoeuvre the little jigsaw puzzles around to get them to reveal the treats and get them out. What I would say when you're using puzzle toys like that is you want to kind of gauge where you're at. If you've never done these forms of enrichment or done these kind of puzzle toys with your dog before, obviously start with ones that are at like a level 1. If your dog finds it too easy, that's fine. There's usually ways you can make it harder on the box. If not, obviously then buy up the next one when you can afford to. Or there's ways you can make these kind of toys at home also. Now, I don't really do them from household appliances, objects. I know people that use kitchen towels and they like scrunch it up and put kibble in it and they've got to get the reward out. Or you can scrunch it around and like put on the kibble onto it to make it into a sniffle mat. I've personally bought a specific sniffle mat. There's a woman that I know at Etsy that makes them in whatever colours that you like. So I've got a few variations of them. We've got a huge one in the house. We've got a travel one for when we go away on holiday that I can bring with me. What you've got to be mindful of is if you're making them out of kitchen towels or you're watching a video that's showing you how to make a sniffle toy out of a sock, is do you really want to encourage a behaviour where they then go and get socks and then rip them to pieces later on because they're trying to get a treat out of it? Because you've also encouraged that behaviour, in my opinion. So I don't do that with Nala because she already steals my socks when she sees them on the floor, or she'll take the kitchen towel off because she wants to play with me when I'm making tea. And I don't want to already encourage a behaviour that she already has, telling her it's okay to do that. So that's also, if you're making them itself at home, if it's not sort of a problem that you have, then you'll probably be fine with it. But currently I already have a problem where Nala thinks that she can take my socks and she runs off because she thinks it's a game. She likes me to chase around the house to get them back. Usually got to bribe her with a biscuit or a piece of her breakfast or tea or whatever it is to get it to give it back. But she does it because she knows she's going to get a bit of bribery afterwards. So I don't want to encourage that behaviour any more than she already has it. So I just buy the toys myself because then she knows when I get it out, that's what we're going to do that day, in that sense. You can also do stuff such as scent work. Now, Nala is a working breed. Just because she's a working breed, obviously she's got a really good scent. We do scent work. She's done scent work since she was a puppy. Because when we first started training, the trainer also did gun dog training and she was like, she'd be amazing at scent work. So we've encouraged that. Hence why we do foraging. So you can either specifically buy scent working toys. They're usually like little containers that got holes in them and you just hide them around the house, or you can hide them when you go out onto a walk in the forest or an area like that. And they just basically forage to sniff them out. Now, scent work is great because it activates probably not the right word. It encourages their natural scenting ability. Now, you've got to remember, a dog has an amazing sense of smell. It's actually been reported in a Frontiers of Veterinary Science report I was reading back in 2018, I think it was. It was, I think it's Jenkins, Perry's, and there's a Decanti guy, I think it was, that did it, and their sense of smell compared to a human can be literally 10,000 to 100,000 times better than a human's. So hence why obviously you get scent dogs to start with. So encourage that natural ability for them. Like, you don't have to go out and buy specific scent ones. You can probably get little Tupperwares and just put holes on them. Probably find them at Poundland or B&M, somewhere like that. Just a little containers that you can put a little piece of a treat in, hide it, and they've just got to retrieve it. What I would say with that one is, if you're making them yourself, be mindful that you buy containers that are bigger that they can't swallow. You don't want to obviously buy something that is then going to end up being something that they can chew or accidentally swallow. You wouldn't do that for a child. So just remember, when you're buying things like this to create these kind of toys, if that's what you want to do, then obviously make sure that you buy either a size bigger for the dog, bigger, or make sure that if you're making them at home yourself, you buy containers that they're not able to actually get fully into their mouth, so they don't actually have an accident. In that sense, you want to be really careful and ensure that obviously everything is safe for the well-being of your dog when you're practicing these kind of things as well. Obviously, the next one, I think we've probably touched upon it a little bit, is obviously walking. But you want to you could always do walking or exploring the outdoors. I have a thing where at least once a month, me and Nala will do a thing where I will usually go with my friend Hannah, and we'll pick somewhere that's within like an hour's drive, and we go out and we'll hike for the day. We'll fetch some like little camping food, and we'll literally sit there, hike for a day, and she gets to see a different area. it's good that obviously you have a varies of walks, that it helps their engagement. Also gives them somewhere else where they can sniff around, see new sights, smells. So it's not just for you, it's not just a benefit for you to be one in nature and see all these amazing things. It's also great for your dog as well. But just make sure you do it safely. Interactive games. Now, interactive games are games that we're referring to of like fetch and tug of war. Now, with these ones, again, anything you do enrichment-wise, you should be catering specifically to your dog. Like, I wouldn't do fetch with Nala. Wouldn't do fetch with Nala because Nala doesn't do fetch. If you throw a ball, she will quite literally look at you and go, well, you threw it, you go and get it. She's not going to go and get it for you. And if she comes with you with a toy and you throw it and go fetch, she'll go and get it, but she'll not bring it back to you because she doesn't do fetch. It's not something that I wanted to encourage with her. She didn't do it when she was a puppy. So she just doesn't do it. She just kind of glares at you and she doesn't give you your toys back. So I feel like she's got a hit list of people she doesn't like giving her toys to because she knows they throw them away and she expects them to go and get them. So that's not how she wanted to play. She wanted to do tug of war. So she has specific ones where you can do tug toys with her, or even if it's just ones where she likes to she loves squeaky toys. So it could be that I get 2 out of her teddy bears out and I squeak one and I'm playing with that one. She takes it off me, so then I pick up another one and I start making a fuss of that toy. And then she wants to come and she wants to take that toy. Interactive games with your dog like that is also great physically and mentally, but it also helps build that connection with your dog, which is also just kind of an added bonus, to be honest. Like, I love my connection with Nala, and I'm sure anybody would also love to incorporate any sort of additional kind of time with their dog is always kind of added bonus, in my opinion. The next thing you can always do is, I don't do this one actually, but rotating your toys. We don't rotate them mostly because she's got different set of toys in different rooms and we don't always access all them rooms. And she doesn't, so she just only plays with them when she's in that particular room, if that makes sense. So what they say when it is that you should like rotate the toys so it creates a novelty and they just don't get sick of them. So they'll just start they'll play with them more apparently. If you do this, let me know if it works. Nala's quite fussy with her toys. If she doesn't like it, we have a saying here, if it is a Nala proof, if she doesn't like a toy, she'll just annihilate it in a matter of seconds. If she likes it, she keeps it quite nice. And that, but she's got a box of toys here in my office. She's got a box of toys upstairs in the living room, and she's got a little box of toys that are in the bedroom that I don't mind her playing with when we're upstairs in case she wakes up a little bit earlier than I do and she doesn't wake me up straight away. Or she likes to sit in the bedroom while I'm in the bath and she'll just play with that particular toy. But there are certain toys she doesn't play with unless I'm there. For example, yakas, because they can get quite small. She doesn't have anything like a chew toy like that. If it's like a natural treat chew toy, she won't have them unless I'm there, just to make sure it's safety-wise. I don't want her accidentally chewing it and choking if I'm not in the room. So she doesn't have anything like that if I'm not there. But yeah, I've never rotated her toys. I was told by an old trainer that I should probably rotate her toys, but if I'm honest with her, because she only plays with the toys that are in my office when we're in our office, and I'm not in my office every day, maybe half the week. She only plays with them on that every other day maybe. And with rotating toys, they say here that you should rotate them maybe every 2 to 3 days. So only being able to play with the office toys every other day is a bit safer than rotating them. And she doesn't always want to play with the toys. And she's got different variety ones. She's got squeaky toys. She's got tug toys. She's got toys that I only play with her. So she knows when I get them out that I'm gonna play with her. So you've just got to be kind of mindful what kind of toys you're buying. And if you're going to rotate them, also remember where you put them. I did try it once and I forgot where I put the box, only to find them when I came out to get the Christmas decorations 4 months later. I was like, oh my God, I've lost all them toys. No, I hadn't. I'm really good at hiding stuff from her, and then I forget where I've hidden it, and then I find it months later. I've got a memory like a sieve, hence why I've got cue cards with all my notes on. The next one that you can always do as well is food puzzle toys. Now, food puzzle toys is different from normal puzzle toys. So when we say normal puzzle toys in the first instance, I'm talking about the ones that are interactive that dispense the treats. And food puzzle ones are ones such as Kongs. I really like the soda pop ones at the moment, and we're getting really into that. any sort of like food dispensary toys, that like a slow feeder, a licky mat, that you can make more interactive for them with food in that sense. Because these ones, you can use them at meal times. I tend to give her one every time. Say if I've got like, I'm doing a client, she might get a food interactive toy such as a Kong or one of the soda pups, and the way I make them is I freeze them, and then she can play with that. It lasts about half an hour, depending on how much stuff I put in there and what's in it at the time. But they're a great source of energy, and they've got to kind of figure out how to get all the not stimulation. They've got to figure out how to get the toys out there. So if, like me, you use Kongs and you freeze them, it takes them a little bit longer because they've got to obviously keep licking that in order for it to kind of go through that first barrier anyway. But they're throwing it around as well, so it's both mentally stimulating and physically exhausting for them as well. But you've got things like licky mats. There's all sorts online with people doing them these days, and I see them where they're putting like raw egg on them, and like my licky mat, I'll put like peanut butter on, and we'll put an extra bit of stuff on it. Helps slow down her food. She tends to get her tea when she gets it with me. It'll have a protein in there and a little bit of kibble, and she'll get it on a slow feeder because it takes her a bit longer to be able to get the food out. So then I've usually eaten my tea by the time she's also eating her tea, because we eat at the same time as being part of a family. That's the way that we work it there. So they're the kind of food puzzle toys that you're looking at. I am looking at doing some little short videos of how I do my Kongs, the soda pup ones that I use. I'm waiting for a new one to come, to be honest. I buy quite a lot of food dispenser ones. They don't also have to be Kongs. I have done a video previously, it's on the YouTube channel, of how I fill up my Kongs, but I have since seen somebody doing it where they use like bone broth and they pour it in. So when they're freezing them, everything's kind of also in that bone broth. So that's a recipe that I'm going to try. So I'm just waiting for some more silicone molds come for when I put on the tops. And yeah, I'll do a little video about that, I think, as well. And then the next thing you can always do is DIY agility. Now, not everyone likes agility, and I love watching it on Crufts. I think that little border collie this year was super fast going through it. Now doesn't do it. I thought she would. She doesn't like them tunnels and she doesn't like them bridges. I specifically played, there's a local place near me where they have like these agility things that you can hire out. So you go to their place and you can hire out their guard, and they've got this agility little area set up. She wasn't too keen. She just liked to run around and sniff and get to play with whatever she wanted. And I was like, you know what, fair play to her. It's like her life. Let her live it how she wants in that sense. But yeah, you can do like little DIY agility things. If you make a little like assault course for them, if you're at home, you don't have to spend any money. It could literally be like setting up, if you've got a big back garden, you can set some stuff for her to wiggle around or jump up and down. I'm really interactive with the environment. So when we go on walks, I'll do stuff where I'll encourage Nell to jump on the little logs, and I'll reward her when she's jumped on them. Or get her to sniff around it, or go behind something, through trees if they've got them big old trees where it's branched off in two different areas kind of thing, so she's got a gap and then she can go through it. And it's just like little things like that. Create your own little assault course and see how she gets on with it. Like, I'm a firm believer of not wasting money. I say that, and then I buy. If anyone wants to come to my house, they'll probably think there's all the stuff Nala's got and she doesn't need any of it. She does. I can convince myself, and I can convince anybody she needs them. But at the same time, like, I will buy a cheaper version of something that I like, see if she likes it first before investing in the more expensive one. Because what I don't want is her getting something, ripping it to shreds, and I've just paid £30 for it. That to me just like doesn't seem practical. So if you want to try an assault course, look locally and see if you've got you can get it. I see it quite regularly where I live in the Lancashire area of people who hire out their fields, and you can kind of build your own little one there. I've seen recently a lot of doggy daycares on a weekend will hire out their daycare space, because obviously they don't work on a weekend for our time slots, and they'll say you've got access to what's in their daycare as well. So there's different ways you can do it, whatever fits your budget in that aspect. But that's another way of obviously incorporating enrichment if you're able to. And then obviously lastly, but probably the most important one, is just spending quality time with your dog, if I'm honest with you. Dogs thrive on companionship and the affection that they get from their owners. Now, I'm surprised she actually hasn't done it while I'm recording this, to be honest. She likes to bark at me and she doesn't think I'm giving her enough attention. So usually she's like knocking around here somewhere. She'll be on one of them beds. If you're watching me on YouTube, she was in the chair next to me. She appears to have toddled off onto one of the beds. One of many that are in my office. But yeah, they thrive on just being able, whether it's grooming, she loves it when I brush her, or just cuddling up on the sofa. She loves to have a movie night with me with some dog-friendly popcorn, which is what we'll do later on night. I'm thinking of rewatching The Matrix. I love Keanu Reeves. But yeah. And then obviously you've got grooming, just relaxing, just taking in the scenery. She loves it. Nala likes to sunbathe. I'm not too good in the sun. I've got allergies. I'm fair-skinned. The sun doesn't agree with me, kind of thing. But she does love it when she sits outside and she'll rest her little head so she can still see what I'm doing. And if I've got work to do, I will go and sit next to her and she'll rest her little head on her head on my leg while I'm doing some work. And she just likes to watch the people go by sometimes. Like, it's raining today and she'll still make me open the door, but she'll sit on the couch next to me, just looking outside, but she'll want to be near me at the same time. It's quite cute. I do actually like it. I get a little bit upset when she just toddles off and goes into one of her beds and I need some alone time is what I call it. But yeah, it's definitely, quality time is probably one of the best ways you can enrich your dog's life. I remember reading a quote once before I got Nala, and it was something along the lines of, they're with us for such a short time of our lives, let's make their lives amazing. And I've just tried to do that with Nala as much as I can since I've had her. And she's probably got more stuff at my house. Nala's got her own wardrobe full of little harnesses and different coats and life jackets in there. And that she doesn't need them, but I love buying her stuff like that, and she does try them on for me and we'll toddle off for a walk and that. But if it makes you feel good doing whatever you do with your dog, that's great, because at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. Like, for you, no one should be able to tell you what you can and can't do with your own dog, to be honest. It's a bit like having children. Everyone's going to tell you how to parent them. When you've got a dog, everyone's going to tell you how you should be, what you should and shouldn't be doing with your own dog. And at the end of the day, that's down to you. That's what I always say to my clients, especially the new ones that I get when they've got a puppy and they're starting to get worried about how much walking they're doing. It's like, you're doing a great job. Do what you want to do. Like, you can. Nobody knows your dog better than you know your dog in that aspect. But yeah. And I think that's about all I've got written down for covering it. I'm a great procrastinator. I probably could have thought of some other stuff in the long run. But yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, why not leave me a comment down below? Let me know how it is that you enrich your dog's life, if there's something I've missed off the list. I know people say about going to training as a form of enrichment. I feel like it depends on what kind of training you're doing. Because sometimes, like, are you trying to train your dog to do something? Are you training it to, like, obviously to be with, like, behaviourist? And that's not really enrichment to me, personally. That's a personal preference. If you think that's enrichment, then that's what you can call it. But I don't feel like that it is, because you're working on encouraging the behaviour you want. How's that enrichment to their lives in that aspect? Personally, again, that's my opinion. Don't come at me in the comments. But yeah, if you're watching this goes out as a podcast, so please like and share. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys do for your own enrichings. And my social, what I'll do is I'll also link in the report I was reading about the dogs sniffing and how it's 10,000, if I can get my words out, 10,000 to 100,000 times more stronger than the human's ability to sniff out any sort of senses, if anyone would like to give it a read. And I will also link in our social media, so you can follow me on social media at Nala's Trails, both on Facebook, Instagram and TikTok. Generally Monday to Friday you will see that, or sometimes on a weekend. It's more what I'm doing with the dogs that I have as clients. If me and Nala go out, I always kind of post of our little adventures on there as well. It's just having too many social medias. I've already got too many things to do. I barely keep up with the one that I've got. But yeah, So I'm aiming to do this, to do one of these maybe once a week, once a month, see how this one goes down first of all. But let me know in the comments if there's anything that you'd like me to learn. The aim of this is literally just to teach, to put out there other things that, I'm a firm believer there's no such thing as a stupid question, just silly, well, I say silly. There's no such thing as a stupid question, just stupid answers. And I'm always that kind of person that I'll start a thing off if I want to ask a question, can I ask you a silly question? And it's never a stupid question. It just, you feel stupid asking it because nobody else has in that aspect. So what I'm trying to achieve with doing these out there is the fact that, you might not be the only one with these thoughts. Everyone, especially with the canine world at the moment, everyone's saying obviously you should enrich your dog more. What are you doing enrichment wise? What are you doing this? And 9 times out of 10, even when I have clients, they'll go, what's an enrichment led walk? So if my clients are asking, there's obviously other people out there that are also going to be asking the same kind of questions. So I'm just going to spread my knowledge of not just what I learn at owning a dog business and what I've taught with all my clients, but also just generally what I've learned with Nala. So yeah, my name's Tara. Nala's knocking around somewhere in my office. And if you like this, let me know. If there's anything that you would like me to discuss, leave a comment for me. I don't think you can on some of the podcast forums. But yeah, reach out to me directly if you need to. And I will see you next week.